Hello and welcome to World Talks here on TVP World. I'm your host, Marie Kato. Ever since Russia invaded Ukraine, attention has been drawn to the harsh winters and increasing weaponization of energy. Russia takes the opportunity of cold winter months and attacks Ukrainian energy grids, leaving civilians with very little heating, hot water or electricity. Ukraine is officially in a state of energy emergency and has been for several weeks. Joining us now is Victoria Voytsitska, Ukrainian energy expert, board member of the We Build Ukraine think tank and Ukrainian politician. Hello, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
So I'd like to begin with a simple question. Is Ukraine losing the energy war?
Well, it's hard to really maintain the level of electricity supply needed for the country to weather through the cold winter, but we are standing and we are surviving. We are in the survival mode, that's for sure.
But we have months of Russian strikes on power plants and substations. You say that Ukraine is still holding the line, but is the system slowly collapsing?
Well, just this morning we had another wave of massive attacks on our energy generating assets, those that are located in the west of Ukraine, in a very close proximity to NATO borders, by the way. And unfortunately, it's another wave of attack on both assets that are generating electricity, assets that are providing us with the ability to import electricity from Europe, and assets that are producing heat for our houses. So yes, it's getting harder and harder. If we take, for example, the city Kyiv, which is the capital of Ukraine, we have over 500,000 people left without heat, while we survived and went through one wave of cold weather, and another one is coming next week. And unfortunately, the temperatures in the apartments where people live are dropping, and in some cases they are around 5-7 degrees, and it's really quite a devastating situation for, as I'm saying, just take a Kyiv, 500,000 of people. But we're adjusting, we're adapting. We have no other way, but we need to survive this winter.
Of course. But the Darnitskaya power plant has now been crippled for the rest of the winter. Obviously, taking on board everything that you've said, what is the significance of this very bad development?
The significance is that over 300,000 people will be left without access to centralized heating system, and will be trapped in their cold apartments for the next couple of weeks. Unfortunately, our energy companies are trying to find alternative solutions to this devastating situation. And as you are showing on your screens to the watchers, we have some special places organized for people where they can go and seek shelter, get some warm food, get warm, get their devices charged. But it's still quite a challenge. Some people are leaving the city, some people are relocating to suburban areas, some people are even finding shelters at their friends' apartments on the right bank of Kyiv, because we're talking about Darnitsa power plant, which is located on the left bank. The right bank is in a better position. But overall, unfortunately, as you were saying, the Russians are weaponizing winter against Ukrainian civilians. First of all, they cannot reach any substantial gains on the front line, so they're punishing Ukrainians for actually standing strong and not not going with the demands of Russians to give up our sovereignty, to give up our territory, etc. So,
but are we looking at a situation?
Are feeling the war everywhere. Yes.
But are we looking at a situation where Ukraine has a tough choice to make between air defense or blackouts?
we don't have enough air defense. Let's me be absolutely clear. We don't have enough systems to protect our skies from hundreds and hundreds of Shahed drones that are flying every day. We don't have enough air defense systems to protect our energy assets and our cities and our military personnel as well. So we are making really hard choices, which assets to protect, which cities to protect, and some of them are protected better than the others. And frankly speaking, we've been asking Europeans to and our other allies to really increase the support for protecting Ukrainian sky, to build a strong common shield that will protect not just Ukraine but European continent from such attacks. But we're still waiting for such solutions and looking at our stocks of missiles for air defense systems being depleted. And every time when we're reaching the minimum level, we're asking ourselves whether we're going to get enough in the next batch. Is it coming on the right time? So it's a big challenge, the air defense and the protection of the sky, unfortunately.
I'll want to dig deeper with our next question. So if Ukraine does not receive significantly more air defense now, are mass blackouts this winter inevitable? And before you answer that question, I'd like you and our viewers to hear the mayor of Kyiv, Vitaly Klitschko, chime in with his opinion on that.
The Darnitskaya power plant supplied heat to over 1,100 residential buildings in the Darnitsky and Dnipro districts. These buildings had their water drained from their heating systems on the morning of February 3rd to prevent freezing. Currently, experts have concluded that the facility sustained critical damage and restoring its systems and equipment will take at least 2 months. This is as long as there are no further attacks.
So 2 months, and as long as there are no further attacks. The likelihood of that is obviously very low, if not impossible, knowing what is happening right now. Can you tell us your thoughts?
Just for the viewers to comprehend the magnitude of an issue, before the full-scale invasion, we had 36 gigawatt of electricity generating capacities. Major cities were based on the centralized heating system, such as was mentioned, Darnitsa power plant. Now we are at the stage where we have around 11 gigawatt, which is less than a third. This is what is left. And the primary source are the nuclear power plants, 3 nuclear power plants. So all new attacks are unfortunately creating more and more challenging situations for Ukraine. The availability of electricity is starting from this morning, when a couple of power plants on the western part of Ukraine this morning at 7 o'clock Kyiv time were attacked. We are having rolling blackouts all over Ukraine right now, and the electricity is available in much smaller batches than, for example, even yesterday. So if you ask me whether the things can go even worse, yes, they can, especially if we will run out of the equipment that we need, the missiles for our air defense systems. They will be depleted soon if more and more attacks, such attacks as this morning or the previous waves. So we do need the systems. We need also the missiles for those systems. And by the end of the day, we can try to keep on shooting each and every arrow that is being shot at us, but it's much easier to actually and more efficient to target the points where the launches are happening, where the stocks and the production of Shahed drones are located. And for that, exactly, we need long-range capabilities to destroy the ability of Russians to send all of those new waves of attacks on our especially energy infrastructure. That's my view on that, if
Sure.
I answered your question.
I wanted to ask you whether you think that Ukraine and perhaps more broadly Europe, are we looking at a potential humanitarian crisis, looking at the pace of events at the moment?
During the first major wave of attacks on our energy grid in 2022, winter of 2022-23, over 1.5 million additional refugees had to leave Ukraine because of the rolling blackouts and the electricity shortages. Right now, we're in the better situation in terms of people being adopted or finding ways, planning, having plan A, B, C in case of longer-term shortages, but no one envisioned the magnitude of the challenges that we're facing when people, as I was explaining, are trapped in the cold multi-story apartment buildings, especially in bigger cities like Kyiv, like Kharkiv and others. So whether there will be a wave of refugee, there might be a case, because by the end of the day, when there is no electricity or it's in a very limited supply, it's being felt throughout the whole Ukraine. On the one hand. On the other hand, the spring is coming, and it's a good sign, or it's a sign of it's an option of relief for all of us. But we are seeing the forecast, weather forecast for the next week and the week after, and we're going to face again deep freezes, and that's quite concerning. The humanitarian catastrophe, I wouldn't call it that way, that it will be in all of Ukraine, but for very many people in bigger cities, in the capital, the pain is being felt right now, and things are going to get even worse in the coming weeks. That's what we need to realize for sure.
Just very briefly, do you feel that Europe is supporting you when it comes to this energy crisis that Ukraine is facing at the moment?
Yes, supporting, but not
because your energy dependence on Europe is growing.
Energy dependence is growing, but most importantly, to rebuild what's being destroyed is going to take tens of billions of euros and years, and we don't have that much time. So it's much easier to hit the source of the problem, deprive Russians of the ability to strike, to conduct all of those attacks on our energy infrastructure, instead of trying to provide us with hundreds of diesel generators. But you cannot run on a country of 30 million of people on diesel generators, especially during winter time. So all those temporary solutions are not good enough. Not good enough.
Yes, I suppose the best thing to do is to plan for the next winter that's inevitably coming. Okay, Victoria Voytsitska, Ukrainian energy expert and politician, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap for World Talks. Thanks so much for being with us, and make sure that you keep yourselves informed with TVP World. Goodbye.